10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Good morning, everybody. Manchester United have not reached the promised land just yet, but Manchester United have won a game 2-0. Manchester United have not drawn a game 1-1. And that puts me in a bit of a chipper mood this morning. How are we all doing? Apologies, I haven't been here Monday and Tuesday. I had a couple of days off. That's nice, isn't it? Went to London, went to watch Super Bowl with some friends, enjoyed it. First time I've ever watched Super Bowl. If anybody's a Super Bowl fan in the comments, you let me know. But hey, let's talk about that game against Brighton last night. Let's talk about the fact that Manchester United scored more than one goal. Let's talk about the fact that Manchester United didn't let a lead slip. Positives. Negatives, that first half of football was almost sent me to bed. That first half of football was atrocious, abysmal, and that's me being polite about it. We're going to speak about that. We're going to be speaking about all the talking points that Rangnick spoke about after the game, all the key points from Cristiano Ronaldo to Manchester United's lack of killer instinct, to David De Gea, to Fred, to Pogba. There are a ton of talking points this morning. And as always, you know what the drill is. You let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below and where you're watching from. Who's down here in the mornings? We got T, we got Paula, we got Paul, we got Matt. Good morning to you, my friend. Sam Rawlinson, Rojo, Leosk, Ant. Absolute party down here. Craig Peterson, Josh, you're there as always. Members, mods, everybody's welcome. Good morning to all of you. Yeah, sorry about the last couple of days. I just had a couple of days off. Why not? It's nice. But yeah, when it's sunny, I'm sure most of you know by now, but quite literally, it's me that does everything here on United People's TV, from the thumbnails to the video to the editing to the lives to the Instagram. Yeah, I need to bring more people on really because I want to make it bigger and better. Gangshi, good morning to you as well, my friend. But hey, last night, we won. You saw my match reaction. That first half in my, obviously you can't prove it, but that first half was so bad for Manchester United that it almost felt like it was semi on purpose. Because when we came out in that second half, we came out with a completely different tactical switch. I will speak about that, but it almost felt like Ralf Rangnick decided that this team, he realized this team can't control the game for 90 minutes. West Ham, probably still the only example that we've had of where United control the game for 90 minutes. So he's decided, he goes, right, okay, well, if we're going to have one crap half, I think I'd rather United have the crap half in the first half, and then we go out and use our energy and expend that in the second half. That's kind of what it felt like yesterday. I don't know whether that was actually the case, but that's what it felt like on the pitch. But I'm going to go down and read a few of your comments, as I always do throughout the entire stream. Make sure you get involved. I do make it as interactive as possible. I can't read all your comments. I don't ignore any comments. There's no agendas. I know it's a big buzzword online these days. But yeah, Paul, you spotted the picture change because that is very much crucial to the key talking point about what Manchester United right now are not doing properly. How we could do with the clinical nature of Eric Cantona or Ruud van Nistelrooy. And in my opinion, I think Ruud van Nistelrooy is probably the most clinical striker I've ever seen at Manchester United. He ate goals for fun. Left foot, right foot, 6-yard box. Wherever he was in the right place at the right time. And he was a phenomenal goal scorer for Manchester United. If you're unfortunate enough not to grow up during that time where we had Ruud for those few years, go and have a look at his YouTube videos. Guy was an absolute monster. And that's definitely, I would probably argue, what Manchester United's biggest problem is right now. And I think, for sure, Rangnick feels the same. But look, if we head down to one of the big talking points from yesterday, and that was that first half. Manchester United, in that first half, did not win a single tackle. None. Absolutely none. And we won 9 in the second half. And then all of a sudden, in that second half, what happens? One of the tackles leads to a goal. One of the tackles leads to a red card. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Do you think I'm right, or is that just like some elaborate conspiracy theory that Manchester United and Rangnick actually decided to sort of sit back in that, not sit back in that first half, but we didn't press at all. And Rangnick's and the press is so crucial for the Rangnick style of play. So to see us do that was like, what are we doing? What are we truly doing? As I said, it almost felt like we decided to sit back, not press, not go for the tackle with the intention of then once the second half kicks off, we turn the screw a little bit. We bring the intensity up a little bit. And that clearly paid off. That clearly paid off. Klein, you're saying that was his game plan. I personally think it was his game plan. Anirudh with a strange comment there, saying we played better under Ole. This is not absolutely. This is not the time as United fans to be trying to get any sort of one up on anything. It was better under Mourinho. Solskjaer was better. We shouldn't have got rid of him. Rangnick, X, Y, Z. Ralf, as I've said before, is our greatest chance of modernisation as a football club. What he does between now and the end of the season is merely a prelude to the main show. And the main show starts when he's not our manager, when he goes upstairs. So we should be supporting everything he's trying to do. And right now he's inside a club which is infested with the wrong attitude everywhere, really. You get good eggs and you get bad eggs. And there's plenty of bad eggs inside that squad. And there's certainly plenty of bad halves of performances from Manchester United, which is a bit of a symptom, I would say, of those bad attitudes. And if we're looking at the game against Southampton as a first half where we dominated, in the second half we fell off. Game against Burnley, first half we dominated, second half we fell off. Middlesbrough, first half we dominated, second half we fell off. Last night was a complete flip. First half, abysmal. Second half, came out. We forced the goal. We forced the mistake for the red card. And then we went into cruise control. Now, of course, we didn't kill the game off. And I'm going to be speaking about that. What we're going to head through now for the next 25 minutes or so, we're going to head through all of Rangnick's post-match comments and the points that he raises and the conversations that we can have off the back of them. So make sure you please drop a like on the video. Make sure you please get your comments in as always. And nice to see you down here this morning. Can we talk about Rashford's mentality, says Tevfik. I'm thinking I might be doing it. I've done a couple of videos on it now. I've kind of accidentally started a bit of a series on United People's TV. We need to talk about. So I did my first one on Harry Maguire, and clearly it was the correct time to have that conversation because lots of you have watched it and lots of you have left comments. Over 2,000 comments on that video. And I felt like it was an appropriate time. Here on United People's TV, you know me by now. I'm not somebody who thrives off the negativity. I don't like it whatsoever. I can't be arsed with it. I'd rather watch United win every single week. It'd be great. But I also now won't. It's not that I ever did, but I don't like ignoring the elephants in the room either. And Harry Maguire, it just gone on for too long. Too long. To the point where you're like, really? You're the captain of Man United. So that's why I did that video on Harry Maguire. And it was important to do that. I also did one on Cristiano Ronaldo. 6 games without a goal. And that wasn't it wasn't a witch hunt against Maguire. It wasn't a witch hunt against Ronaldo. But you should be able to, as a fan online, have a fair and rounded conversation about a problem. And that's why I did those videos. We need to talk about Maguire. We need to talk about Ronaldo. I've done those 2. Now, you let me know what other ones you want to do. But I think we're probably going to have a discussion soon about Marcus Rashford. I think given the expectations going into this season after having his surgery, missed the first couple of months of the season, we all expected him to come back refreshed, re-energized. And he's come back anything different, anything but. And I think it's about time we kind of got to have a conversation about it because it's taken us all by surprise a little bit. And it's gone on long enough now that we're not just making this as a knee-jerk reaction. But yeah, you let me know in the comments and fire me a tweet if you want at United People's TV or at SamPeoples_. If you'd like me to do any different videos, you let me know what you think. And you're saying, can I just say it was far from one of his best games, but Bissouma was levels above McTominay and Fred combined. That I will not disagree with, my friend. I've got Fred's a conversation point we've got coming up later in the video. Bissouma, yeah, he's a good ball progressor. That's what I would call him. And Ian Wright got it spot on. And his pre-match conversation he was having on what was it, Premier Sports, I think it was Andy Cole and Ian Wright, because it wasn't on TV last night. He was saying that that's the one thing that United miss, and we all know that, right? Preaching to the choir here. But Manchester United need that person who simply just has the energy to win the ball back in midfield, which is like Fred, but also somebody who can progress the ball forward, someone like Pogba. So you need like the best of Fred and the best of Pogba in one player. Who is that player? Is that Basuma? Maybe. Is that, I don't know, Ruben Neves? Maybe. Is that whoever it is? There is somebody there who it is. And I thought Paul Pogba, you can feel pretty hard done by that he got put on the bench there last night. But given the fact that we've thrown away the last 3 games, Rangnick wanted to switch it up. And the fact that we won the game 2-0 means that it was justified. But I don't really think Fred justified himself in the side of starting 11 after that performance last night. That's for sure. Paul, you're saying I think Elanga should start all the time. His energy on the pitch is great for United. It's true. I really, really enjoy watching Elanga play. Elanga's desire to win that second ball, to be there, to put the pressure on the centre-back, got Lewis Dunk sent off. Simple as that. All that, and that completely and utterly changed the game on the flip of a coin. Simply because Elanga had the desire and the attitude to sprint for that ball and make sure he got his foot in there first. That's all it was. It was that extra yard. 1 yard short, and Elanga wouldn't have got there first. Lewis Dunk wouldn't have got sent off. And given how they played in that second half, even with 10 men, they probably would have came back. So those small differences, those single yards, can be the difference between game-changing moments. And that's why it's so important that the attitude is so spot on from everybody. Gary, you're saying Pogba should be signing a new deal. Simple. We need our best players. Trust me, I'm going to be speaking about Paul Pogba soon. Again, he's been nothing short of fantastic, really, since he returned from injury for Ralf Rangnick. I think we can all agree on that. But let's go through now and let's read some of the comments here from Ralf last night and the talking points that they raised. I kind of highlighted them on here. Full-time feeling from Ralf. He said, look, the same thing again, right? We had 5 or 6 unbelievable chances to score, but again, we didn't. And as long as it's 1-0, with the experience of the last 3 games, it's normal that there is a little bit of insecurity in the team. Now, if we go into that in a little bit more depth and we look at the XG. Now, the XG is a stat that's being used quite a lot in modern football. What XG is expected goals. That means, according to all the stats and the data that gets pulled together, the XG looks at, like, if you have like really golden chances, your XG is going to go up. If like you might have a couple of half chances, your XG is going to be pretty low. So the higher the XG, the better it is. And XG, as I said, stands for expected goals off the quality of the chances you had. Last night against Brighton, Manchester United's XG, 2.57. And we won 2-0. Brighton's XG was 1.17 because they had that absolute worldie of a save from David De Gea, which I will be pulling up. And he also hit the bar as well. But Manchester United underperformed yesterday. By the quality of the chances we had, we should have scored more goals. And that there is against Brighton. And that is not the only time that's happened. Look, the last 3 games there against Southampton, our XG was even higher, 2.53. My word, Man United are inefficient in front of goal. And then we go down to the Burnley game. Manchester United again underperforming according to the quality of the chances that we had. That's the biggest issue. We know that's the biggest issue. Ralf knows that's the biggest issue that Manchester United have right now. And we need someone like him. We need that clinical nature to come back inside this front, all of these attackers. Cristiano Ronaldo obviously got back among the goals last night. I don't regret doing the video saying we need to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, because we do need to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, right? And now we still can talk about Ronaldo. No one said that he wasn't going to get back among the goals, but without a goal in 6 and how Manchester United were playing, his hindrances to the build-up play that you, as I said in that video, you can overlook them a lot easier when he's scoring the goals. I compared him to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. A lot of the time when Zlatan was in that United side, we kind of had to play towards him, had to play around him. And when it worked, it worked. And he got the goals, you got the goals. You couldn't say anything. But when the goals dried up, you really couldn't say too much. And I think that was the case with Ronaldo for the last 5-6 games. But last night, he got back among it. So well done to him. Absolutely fantastic finish, by the way. Great goal. But that's United's Achilles heel right now. That XG. We simply are not being clinical enough. Someone needs to bring Rude in right there, bring him in and get him to tell the players a thing or two about finishing. It's not as if these players can't finish. These players are all very, very capable of scoring 10+ goals each a season. Sancho, Ronaldo, Bruno, Maybe not Elanga, or maybe Elanga if you want to throw him as well. Rashford, all of them are capable of scoring 10-plus goals at least in the season. So the fact that we continue to miss these chances is just not on. Yesterday, it nearly got punished again. 1-0 against Brighton, who had 10 men for like 35, 40 minutes, right? And they hit the bar. They had a couple of chances. Danny Welbeck sneaking in between Lindelof and Maguire, firing his header wide. Thank you very much, Danny. It could have easily been 1-1 yesterday. Absolutely could have been 1-1. Instead, it was 1-0 going into the 96th minute, and Bruno Fernandes braked and scored. And by the way, how filthy was that fake from Bruno Fernandes? Twisting ligaments he was. Filthy fake, kicked it into an empty net. Pogba with the assist, by the way. Amazing. But that's the biggest problem we've got. I might do a video on that separately. I think we all know that's the problem we have. The question I've got you, I want to ask you, how do we fix it? You let me know in the comments below. Genuinely, if you're Ralf Rangnick, how do you go about fixing that? We have 5 to 6 chances to score. Again, we didn't take it. What changes that? Is that something that Ralf Rangnick can change? Is that something that is simply in the minds of the players? Is it purely a confidence thing? Because as I said, look, if we go across the XG here, it's not because of the quality of the chances aren't good enough. XG of 2.57 against Brighton, XG of 2.53 against Southampton, XG of nearly 1.67 against Burnley. We have got the chances. I mean, if we're looking at that game yesterday, it was Cristiano Ronaldo who probably came up with the two biggest ones. No, Ronaldo twice and Bruno once. Ronaldo had 2 balls perfectly pinged onto his head by Bruno, and you would just back him to get it on. You get those on target all the time. That's like bread and butter for Ronaldo. But he missed both of them. And then Bruno Fernandes, when Ronaldo broke, and then because of that lack of confidence, not Ronaldo broke, you know, when Sanchez passed it out to him, Ronaldo's like, I couldn't believe Ronaldo didn't just ping it with his left foot straight away. But anyway, he took a touch, gave it to Bruno. Bruno square with the keeper, doesn't score. So much space to enter. And then if we're looking at Bruno when he had the open goal the other week, oh my God. If somebody compiled a video of the chances that Manchester United have missed in the last couple of weeks, it would just make you bang your head against a brick wall, wouldn't it? Or you're saying it's a mentality thing. It will click and we'll start scoring. I absolutely stand by the fact that at some point in the next few, I would put a bet on at some point in the next 4. Who have we got in the next 4 games? Let me have a look. Man United's next 4 games. Let me pull this one up. We have got Leeds on Sunday. We've got Atletico Madrid on Wednesday. We've got Watford. Probably you're looking at Watford next Saturday, aren't you? There you go. Next 3 games. Called it. Absolutely. At some point in the next few games, I think it's just going to click for Manchester United, like Orr said, and we're going to score 4 or 5. Because it's not to do with a lack of opportunities. It's not to do with a lack of creativity. It's just a lack of like that. It's a lack of that bloke. It's a lack of clinical finishing. It's a lack of confidence. And I don't really think that that's got anything to do with Ralf Rangnick. There's nothing he can say. It's not as if Ralf is a person who scored 250 goals in the Bundesliga and knows a lot about striking. I think he was actually a centre-back when he played football back in the day. But this isn't on Ralf. That's not on Ralf. I think I read that quote out to you last week. I don't know whether it was true or not, but the idea was it made sense. Pep Guardiola saying that my job is to get you to the edge of the box, but it's your job to score the goal. And that's it. A manager can only set up a team as far as getting the ball to the edge of the box or the ball inside that 18-yard box. And then it's simply on that player to kick the ball in the back of the net. You can learn about that in training if you want. But when it comes to goal scoring, like Rude, it's kind of a natural thing. So it really is a natural thing. And I don't really know if there's anything that Ralf can do differently to make these players better strikers. I'd be interested to know if you think that as well. I'll go down to the comments here, read a few comments out. Flawless Football, you actually disagreeing with quite a lot of people in the comments here. You're saying Ronaldo played bad last night. Then he stayed longer than any player at Carrington to come back and score. Oh, sorry, you meant in the game before. Such a role model. You actually agree with everybody. I will be speaking about Ronaldo, what he said after the game. Ronaldo there yesterday, there were times where he cut a frustrated figure, but he didn't let it affect him. And as I said, look, if we're looking at this United squad, there are far, far greater and bigger problems than Cristiano Ronaldo, who is quite literally the greatest goal scorer of all time. Doesn't mean that you can't speak about the problem of the tactical questions that including Ronaldo poses to the team. Yeah, that's completely fair. But we got much bigger problems than Ronaldo. I think everyone knows that. Comment here that caught my eye. Let me see where it was. I've lost it. And you're saying, Sam, one thing we are not seeing with our chances is team play. We have chances, but we rarely see others pushing forward, following in for rebounds, getting on front and back posts. It's a good point. It's a good point there. Those sorts of not sloppy goals. Those sorts of goals that attackers just clean up, get the rebound, little spill in the edge of the box, little spill, little deflection, first to react. I'm not seeing, I suppose, as many of those at the moment. But yeah, we are just creating chances left, right, and centre right now. Paul Pogba has been crucial to that, and I will speak about that there as well. Before I quickly head on, make sure you please drop a like on the video, people. Come on. Nice to be back. I apologise, I was away for a couple of days. It is what it is. Sometimes you've got to have a little break. I'll tell you what, after that, what was it? Southampton at the weekend? It was Southampton. Oh, man. I was like, you saw my match reaction after that. I was like, wow. You can't continue this. You can't continue this. And we tried our hardest, I'll be honest. We tried our hardest to continue that against who was it last night? I always do this. Sometimes it was Brighton. I get confused because United are playing so many games right now. But yeah, we tried to do it again last night, didn't we? But look, let's head over here and let's continue going through what Ralf said. So that first conversation there about the XGs, I think it's an important point. For me, it's the biggest problem. I might do a separate video on it, but I'm not really sure what I could add to that rather than having a conversation about other things. This I found very interesting. So this is Ralf explaining what he did at half-time to tweak Manchester United's formation because it wasn't working in the first half. So he made some tweaks, which ultimately led to us winning the game. He said there are two alternatives, either change of formation to an unusual, in our view, 3-5-2, as our team hasn't played in that formation often, or mirror them with a 4-4-2 diamond. That again would have meant one or two players who would have been played not in their best possible position. So we'd stuck to the 4-2-3-1 and we took more risks. We attacked their centre-backs with our wingers on the ball side, and it paid off because of the goal we scored. So Ralf there for me, is absolutely showing why he is a bit of a different manager to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And that's a bit of flexibility. Ole was loyal to that 4-2-3-1. Any way, shape, or form. He was loyal to a lot of players, and the loyalty sort of stung him by the end of it. He didn't have that tactical versatility. Ralf there clearly making it obvious that he was prepared to go to a 3-5-2, prepared to go to a 4-4-2 diamond, prepared to stick to the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3. We've seen lots of different formations and lots of different tweaks, but that tweak there yesterday, it changed the game. It changed the game because all of a sudden you saw Elanga and Sancho cutting inside, putting pressure on Dunk and whoever the other Brighton centre-back was. And that led to not only the goal, that led to the red card, which changed the game completely. And then you had Delot and Shaw coming on the overlaps, going on the fullbacks instead. By the way, Tariq Lamptey thought he was very, very good yesterday. Very impressive player. I'm not going to be surprised if he leaves Brighton anytime soon. And I quite like him at United. I think Lamptey looks excellent and exciting. But yeah, that tactical switch from Rangnick clearly paid dividends. As I said, I stand by my theory, my conspiracy theory, that I genuinely feel Ralf wanted Manchester United to basically get into half-time at 0-0. Get into half-time at 0-0. Don't expend too much energy. Don't let the game get away from you. Try and control it as much as possible. But basically, if we're going to have a bad half, let's have a bad half in the first half and finish the game strong. And that's what we did yesterday. And again, that sort of semi-caught Brighton out, didn't it? Because we played, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe that's just what it is with footballers. It's like we lured them into a trap. We set like a little sugary goodness, and then Brighton were there just enjoying themselves. And bam, we came out in that second half. They were unaware that we were going to come out like that. And they got caught out with their pants down. And that's basically what's happened to Manchester United in the games against Southampton, Burnley, and Middlesbrough. We're there just enjoying our sugary treats after an excellent first half. Everyone's got their kick back with their feet up. And then the other teams have come out all strong, and we're like, crap, wasn't expecting that. And we don't know what to do. Look like a deer in headlights. It's kind of that's exactly what Brighton looked like yesterday. They got back into the game a little bit because we didn't kill the game off. Goes back to the original point we had there. But at least Ralf saw it wasn't working, saw a change was needed, and made that change. Tactically, he's got more in his locker. He's not stubborn enough to stick with one formation and just do that. Cross his fingers, hope it works. But I'll be completely honest, if this Manchester United team right now doesn't have the true capability of controlling a 90-minute game, then you're damn right that I would rather have a stronger second half. You win the game in the second half. 90 minutes, game, set, and match. And yeah, we got Leeds coming up now. Now, Leeds, if we look at the last few times we played them, have been the perfect opposition for Manchester United. Absolutely perfect. Bielsa loves going gung-ho, plays aggressively, leaves loads of space in behind. Typically, our counter-attacks have worked very well in those situations. And I probably hesitate to say that he's probably going to start McFred in that game, because it is those sorts of games where Fred actually does work quite well, where McTominay actually does work quite well. And just my opinion, I don't know whether I'm going to be right or not there. I don't know whether it is the complete right thing to do, but I do think against Leeds, he probably will use McFred. And trust me, I'm going to be getting onto McFred. I'm not ignoring that conversation. Maybe I'm going to do a video. Maybe I'll do a video about McFred today. Maybe I will. Shall I do a video about McFred or Rashford? You let me know. Type it in the comments now, McFred or Rashford, and I'll choose one of those. Gungshi, nice to see you this morning, my buddy. Supporting the channel as always. Big up to you. I agree, Sam. I think Ralf could see the team were not capable of playing well for 90 minutes, so he planned to concentrate the pressing and energy in the second half rather than go all out in the first. I kind of stand by that, Gungshi, because if you're looking at how Manchester United played in that first half, not one tackle. It's not as if we were playing with a little bit of pressing. It was just like, it's like we were actively not doing it. Like the players would think, no, okay, we'll just sit back. That's what we've been told to do in this first half. We've got to sit back. Really is. If it wasn't a tactical thing, then geez, those players are the laziest players in the entire world. And given everything that happened in the last few games, it would have been very strange for that to be their approach and attitude. Looking down here in the comments, all of you typing in here, I'll be honest, the majority of you are saying Rashford. Some of you are saying both of them. I can't do both of them at the same time. But yeah, all right, I'll do it on Rashford. I did think that Rashford was the more prevalent conversation. Because I'm worried as hell, man. I'm worried as hell about Rashford. The kid who burst on the scene in 2015. We know he's had ups and downs, and then he became the role model during the pandemic for not only Manchester United, also basically England. He was a role model against the government. But then what's happened since in terms of his football? He's stagnated significantly. And that's what we got. That, as I said, spoiler alert, that's what I'm going to talk about in that video. I think it's really important that we do have a conversation about it. Lawrence, exactly. Remember, Ralf said you either press or you don't. And that's exactly what we did, Lawrence. That first half, we did not press. The second half, we quite literally immediately pressed. As soon as kickoff happened, we pressed. And that, for me, showed it was a tactical decision to sit back. And clearly, it was the correct thing to do, didn't it? Because we won 2-0. We turned a 1-1 for the last 3 games into a 2-0. And we also had a lot of chances. Now, you can say that we were a little bit fortunate with the red card for Lewis Dunk. I would disagree completely. I would say that wasn't fortunate. That was because Elanga put the effort in to be there, to be a yard ahead, and earn that red card. So I disagree with the concept of luck, really. I think a lot of the times, sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes you can get really fortunate timing. That's where I think luck happens. When it comes to things like that, I don't particularly think it's lucky. I think that's the product of hard work, that one. But look, let's go down here at Ronaldo. This is what he said about Ronaldo. He said, yes, it was an amazing goal. Not only an important one, but an amazing goal. Overall, it was a good performance from Ronaldo. And energetically, he was online, always trying to help the other teammates. I think in the last weeks, that would be the best performance by him and a very, very important goal. What was your reaction to that performance from Cristiano Ronaldo last night? You know, it was hilarious. Literally, like you get your notifications through on your phone from your football apps. Lionel Messi misses penalty for PSG at the exact same time that Ronaldo scores for Brighton. That put a smile on my face. I'm not sure if it put a smile on your face. But Ronaldo there yesterday, you have to say, yeah, he came up with the goods when United needed the goods. He came up with the goals when United needed the goals. And it was a great finish. It really was. Sort of tucking in between 2 Brighton defenders. One quick touch onto his right foot. And he got his foot through that ball so quickly. fired it into the bottom corner. He kind of saw it from his celebration as well. Wasn't a typical Sue celebration, was it? It was just straight old school knee slide. I think he felt a bit of relief there. He's not a goal. He's not a guy who really remembers having goal scoring droughts. It's unusual for him. Absolutely unusual. But Ronaldo there, I know a lot of players say some cliche things after games, and it kind of pisses me. I'm sure it pisses you off as well. You think, really? I'm bored of hearing that. But hearing this from Ronaldo, I liked it. And he's got every right to be saying stuff like this. Back on track. Nobody gives up. And there's only one way to get back on track. Hard work. Team work. Serious work. Everything else is just noise. I mean, that's what it is, man. And that's what, even if that is a PR team, that's a good PR team. Right there is the exact right message that all of us have been saying. That hard work, that teamwork, that serious work was how Ronaldo got his goal. That hard work, that teamwork, that serious work was how Elanga got Dunk sent off. That lack of hard work, that lack of teamwork, that lack of serious work were how we had 0 tackles in that first half and Brighton dominated us. It really is a case of, when it comes to football, man, like, your talent can only get you so far. It's true. And it's sorry. It's the same with anything in life. Your talent really can only get you so far. And Ronaldo is the king, the absolute king of maximizing his own potential. Because when he arrived at United as an 18-year-old with spaghetti noodle hair, spots all over his face, he was raw as hell, unpolished. He spent years polishing himself. Well, maybe not polishing himself. Maybe polishing himself as well at Carrington. And it paid off. He turned himself into basically the Terminator of football. And at 37, he's still doing it. And of course, he's not going to be playing every single week like that level. And I do think he needs to be used correctly by Ralf. I think he's got to be managed properly by Ralf. I don't think it's a case that Ronaldo should be starting every single week for United. Given the fact that it's Leeds away this weekend, of course, Ronaldo's going to start. But in an ideal world, I would probably rest Ronaldo before the Atletico game, so he's 100% sharp. It's what Zinedine Zidane was the first. Zinedine Zidane was the first manager to do that. The first manager to say to Ronaldo, said, "Look, you're incredible, but I think it would be better if you took a little rest this weekend, so you're crisp and ready for the Champions League." And I think that was at the time where he got like back-to-back hat tricks in the Champions League knockouts, and Real Madrid went on to win 3 Champions Leagues in a row when Ronaldo was the centerpiece. He is the greatest of all time. There will not be another goal scorer like him, and he has every single right to say things like this. And if he's going to say it, and if he's staying at Carrington the entire time, then everybody else needs to buck up and put the hard yards in, man. Put the shift in. It's not difficult. This team has so much more quality than the results show for the last 4 games. We should easily, right now, be on a 4-game winning streak. Middlesbrough had enough chances to win that game easily. Done. Burnley had more than enough chances to kill that game. Done. Southampton, more than enough chances to kill that game. Done. Win, win, win. Going into Brighton last night, we got that. 4 in a row. And how different would the feeling be around Manchester United if that was the case? And that's all just because we've been poor at finishing. They say it's the hardest thing to do in football, and Manchester United's last few games would show that is the case, because we've been creating left, right, and centre. Absolutely. But no, I suppose this is a very strange comment. I've just caught my eye there, saying Jacek saying Ralf is the biggest problem. Let me know in the comments, ladies and gents. Genuinely, are there some of you that think Ralf is the problem? Or am I just getting trolled here? Because it staggers me that comment is in there. Maybe it is just a complete troll, and I've been lured in. But I reckon there are some United fans that are going, "Oh no, oh yeah, Ralf, no, Ralf's playing Fred instead of Pogba." Idiot. That's part of the problem. Genuinely, I think there probably will be some United fans that want to try and not beat Ralf Rangnick up. You know what I mean? Like they want to try and take away from the work that he's been doing. So honestly, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to read a few of these comments out, because for me, he's not even slightly the problem. Not even slightly the problem. Paul, you're disagreeing. Or you're saying you're crazy if you think Ralph's the problem. Ricardinho, Ralph's not the problem. All right, good. Well, maybe I'm just getting trolled here. Maybe I'm just getting trolled in the comments here. Loads of it say it's Sam, but they are fucking clueless, says Josh. Okay, well, no, maybe I'm not getting trolled. Gungsha, you're saying that's ridiculous. Majority of you, and Vinny, I agree with him. I want what he's smoking, baby. That's sweet Snoop Dogg high grade. That's what he's probably had. And Gary, you're saying Ralph can't be the problem. The best manager in the world can't legislate for us not being able to hit a barn door. I wouldn't say Ralph's the best manager in the world, but Ralph, as I've said, I will stand. I'll stand by you. I will. I'll stand by Ralph. I think he is our savior. If this club is truly going to modernize in the next 2.5 years, someone's going to write a book on Ralph. Ralph's going to be the man who really took this club and finally started steering it in the right direction. And I mean steering it at the wheel. Ole's not on the wheel. Ralph's at the wheel. It's a German car. Nice, reliable Volkswagen. Beautiful. But look, I think I might do a video on that later. We need to talk about Ralf Rangnick. Yeah, I'll do that. I won't do that today. I personally think Marcus Rashford's the biggest talking point right now at Manchester United because it ties into our misfiring attackers because he's one of them, and it's all. I'll do that later. But look, we've got to have a conversation about this man from yesterday, right? Because Fred came back into the team. Fred came back into the team for Paul Pogba, and I think it was a tactical decision by Ralph to try and get a larger element of control in that second half and being willing to give up a little bit of the creativity to do that, right? I think that was the logic and the decision behind Fred starting against Brighton. But it did not work. It did not work. Manchester United quite literally did not have a tackle in that first half. And Fred gave the ball away so many times. Remember that pass he did in the first half? Into nowhere. And then Brighton got a chance. I think it was Basuma that was put through and fired it wide. Fred is the bulldog of this team. Every team needs a bulldog, right? But his limitations, they just kind of take you back to where we were under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where we might have had that little bit of bite in midfield with Fred and McTominay, but that's about it. It's just like two angry bouncers. There's no creativity. There's no real quality from either of them. McTominay, I think, has got a little bit more about his game going forward than Fred, and I think that would always be the case. But to take Fred out of that team yesterday, to take Pogba out of that team yesterday, and for it to be justified, Man United needed to properly control that midfield. But instead, one player in Yves Bissouma probably played better, as Ant said, played better than Fred and McTominay did combined. And that's damning. That's absolutely damning and embarrassing for Fred, for McTominay, and for Manchester United's misfiring midfield. So therefore, there's no justification really for Pogba not starting. I don't think so anyway. And what I would say, I said it about 2 minutes ago. I absolutely think we're going to see Fred and McTominay start against Leeds. But I would also argue it's a little bit more appropriate for a game like that than it would be for a game against Brighton at Old Trafford. You're Brighton at Old Trafford, man. You're Burnley at Old Trafford. You're Southampton at Old Trafford. Whoever, one of those teams at Old Trafford, there's absolutely no way that United should be playing with two holding midfielders. We should have one holding midfielder good enough to let this team express themselves, to get that Old Trafford crowd excited, get a goal, a nice early goal, get Old Trafford bouncing, and then just go for the jugular. That's all I want to see United do. Go for that jugular. Get that second or third goal and watch the weight drop off those players' shoulders. Watch the natural finishes come back. It's almost like the players' bodies are too tight by the time they're finishing. Like they're nervous and they can't get that natural finish on. When you're Cristiano Ronaldo, you've been in far bigger pressure situations than that. So he's going to be someone that sort of breaks through that eventually. But yeah, Fred, I don't think really can be starting for Manchester United anymore. Not when Paul Pogba is playing the way he's doing. And this is what I said about agendas, right? Agenda is such a lovely buzzword for so many people online these days. As soon as you say a criticism of one player, you've either got a negative agenda against that player or you've got a pro agenda against another player that you refuse to criticize. And it's not at all, in any way, shape or form, anything like that. And for me, Paul Pogba is the proof of that. I've made it abundantly clear that I think Manchester United should be moving on from Paul Pogba. That was the case before when he was injured out for 3 months, and I just didn't feel like the circus was worth it anymore. But what I also said, and I stood by this, I said, if it suits Manchester United, and Manchester United are a better team because he's in it, then I want Paul Pogba to play for Manchester United between now and the end of the season. So many of you could say, Sam, what's the point in playing a player who doesn't want to play for the club? I'll say, look, if Man United are a better footballing team between now and the end of the season, because Paul Pogba's in it, then that suits my agenda. The only agenda I got is I want Manchester United to be the best possible team week in, week out. And if that means that Paul Pogba's in it because he's a great player, then hell yeah, Paul Pogba's going to be in it. If I'm going to see Paul Pogba dropping his shoulders, slouching around, then I would take Paul Pogba out of the team. But Pogba, he was fantastic even in his cameo yesterday. He really, really was. It was a stat I wanted to pull up here that was very, very impressive. Look at that. Premier League assists this season. Paul Pogba has got 8 assists in 831 minutes. De Bruyne, Maddison, Rafinha, Havertz, and Mane together have got 8 assists in just over 7,000 combined minutes. Paul Pogba in the Premier League this season is, if he played a full season from the start, I'm pretty sure was it Mesut Ozil who's got the record. It's either Ozil or Henry. I think it's like 19, 20 assists. He would have beaten that. I mean, he got 4 in the first bloody day. Paul Pogba, look, as Gary's saying here, look, love him or hate him, Pogba is unplayable at times. No one can touch him on his day. For someone who's got so much size, so what is he, 6'3", I think he is? He's got so much grace and poise on the ball. That is lovely to watch him in full flood. That little roulette that he did between 2 Brighton players, I don't really think that was showboating. It was kind of that was the best way to keep possession at that point in time. It's just that he's capable of doing it. Gungshi, you're here saying, why do people assume Pogba doesn't want to play for the club? I think he's keeping his options open. I would agree with the second part of the sentence there, Gungshi. I think he is keeping his options open because I don't think he knows what he wants. I don't think he knows what he can get at the same time. That's quite a crucial part of all of this. And it's frustrated me that Manchester United have been held to ransom in that sense. But that's what contracts are supposed to do. They're supposed to take a little bit of power away from the clubs. They're supposed to give a little bit more autonomy to the players. The Bosman rule that came in, of course, and it allows the players to take a little bit more control over their own future and when they want to. That's the logic of it. And Man United are definitely getting held when it comes to Pogba's contract. But let me know what you think, eh? Let me know what you think about the Pogba situation. I will do a video on that. As I said, I'm glad I started that series because it's given me a series of videos now where I can openly talk about problems that we have inside this squad or question marks that we've got inside this squad with players without being slammed as an agenda, without being slammed as a negative video, because we do need to talk about Paul Pogba. Man, look how good he's playing. And you're kind of putting it in reverse a little bit, aren't you? Because it's the same sort of conversation we've had about Paul Pogba so often. When he's playing like this, he's such a joy to watch. There aren't many midfielders like him in world football when he's on this sort of form. It's just graceful, but top quality at the same time. And he did that again last night against Brighton. Holly with a comment there. Hollis, sorry. Park was our bulldog. He was disciplined and could play. Park was 3 Lung Park, he was called, of course. He was amazing. Park was unrivaled. And inside that team, it's a bit like Tevez, where the reason that we were so successful because we had Ronaldo and Rooney is because Ronaldo was allowed to do what he wanted because he had 2 bulldogs alongside him. Rooney and Tevez did not all the hard leg work, but the majority of the hard leg work. And that's why that front 3 works so well together. Ray, you're saying Pogba is putting himself on the market. It's as simple as that, mate. And that's exactly what I said, Ray. It's exactly what I said. And it also goes back to what I mentioned there. I don't care if he's putting himself in the shop window. If he's playing like he's playing and Manchester United are a better team because of it, he's in my starting 11 every single week. even if he is putting himself in the shop window. We've allowed it to get to this situation. We've not got him to sign that contract extension. We can't get him to sign that contract. Therefore, it's a bit of both. But if Man United are a better team with Pogba in, I want Pogba in that team. And if Pogba had chimed up the first time Raiola opened his mouth and said, shut the fuck up and don't say anything until I give you permission, we would have respected him more. Pogba's silence has been pretty deafening when it comes to Raiola and that whole situation. But it's not, that's not in Pogba's best interests to do that. It depends what you define as Pogba's best interest. If his best interest is keeping himself on side with Manchester United fans, then yes, it wouldn't have been in Pogba's best interest. But Pogba, yeah, has remained silent throughout this whole thing, and it's a way of approaching it. He's doing that very much based on advice. For sure, he's doing that based on advice. And Paul, you're saying I would like Pogba to stay, given and playing his correct position. That's probably why I didn't shine at United. As I said, I definitely sympathise and empathise with the fact that Paul Pogba, in my opinion, has been a little bit let down by Manchester United. In the same way that we can argue we've been let down by Paul Pogba and some of his performances, I think Manchester United brought him back to be the centrepiece of something brilliant and exciting going forward. And instead, he got shoved into a midfield double pivot and played there for at least a half, if not more, of his Manchester United career, whilst being involved in a club that's riddled with turmoil, multiple managers. I think we've let down Pogba, not just as much as Pogba's been let down by. I think we've let down Pogba, not quite as much as maybe Pogba has let down the fans and let down United, but we've definitely let down Pogba. And I think it would be ignorant for us to suggest that we haven't. All right. That's my opinion on it. That's what I mean. That's why we've got to do a video on Paul Pogba. You've got to try and look at both sides of the coin. Yesterday, by the way, look how quality these photos are, right? This was David De Gea's save yesterday. Absolutely old school Dave. Full stretch, fingertip. And that was against Brighton in 2022. Look at this from Brighton in 2018. Carbon copy. Look at that body position. Pretty much exactly bang on. Full stretch. Well, he's got more of a hand on it at that time. But David De Gea, he definitely hasn't lost it. We know he hasn't lost it. It's a shame that we're getting towards that point now where we've got to start relying on Big Dave again. Remember, he was our player of the year for what, 3 years? I think it was 3 years. Absolutely incredible save from him. I hope we've got to stop relying on him. I want Dave to be bored every single game. I want him to have to bring his phone out and start playing Snake. Old school. Instead, we're having to rely on De Gea every single game to make at least 1 or 2 ridiculous saves. And again, that comes down to the fact that we are not being clinical enough. Because if he concedes that and we're 3-0 up, what happens? Nothing. You go and win the game. But to concede that would have been the equaliser. And Manchester United just needs to kill the games so we can stop relying on De Gea, because it's not good for my health. It's definitely not good for your health either. We could speak about Jadon Sancho last night. I thought this was quite impressive. Quite an important stat from United Arena. Under Ralf Rangnick in all competitions, Jadon Sancho and Diogo Dalot lead the team in progressive carries and progressive passes, respectively. So you can see absolutely why Diogo Dalot is now our number 1 right back. You can also see how much Jadon Sancho has improved. Again, last night there against Brighton, I thought Jadon Sancho was an absolute star. I enjoyed watching him. Couple of nutmegs on Brighton's players. He's starting to make Premier League defenders look like Bundesliga defenders. He's starting to have the real confidence to, take them on, man. If it doesn't work, the fans aren't going to get on your back. That's the sort of player they are. It's like Nani. Might have been a player that United fans were frustrated with quite a lot of times, but Nani came up with so many match-winning moments because he took that risk. When you're a winger and you're in that position, that's what you've got to do. You have to take that risk, because when it pays off, and I think it has paid off in the last few games for Sancho, you start looking like the player that Sancho is looking like again. He's really coming, as always says down there, look, he's coming along nicely. And you're saying Sancho is properly getting on form now in a better overall team. He would be a monster. He would be an absolute monster. And he nearly scored again last night. Look, Sancho, I'm dead excited to see how this continues to go. I think he's been very, very impressive in the last few games, and long may it continue. There's a comment there from Gary saying, your thoughts on Maguire last night? Well, took the words out of my mouth there, because I was going to bring this up next. I'll let everybody else in the comments, you let me know what you thought about Maguire last night. I thought Maguire played pretty well. I've got to be honest. I didn't give him much credit in my match reaction because maybe I didn't focus on it enough. Maybe I wasn't concentrating enough. But I thought Harry Maguire did what Harry Maguire needed to do yesterday. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I think he was far better than his performances in the last few weeks. Was Ronaldo incredible last night? No. Was his performance significantly better than it has been in the last few weeks? Yes. Did he score? Yes. Was Maguire's performance better? Yes. Did we get a clean sheet? Yes. As Gary said, I think that's probably fair. Steady. Nothing more. Michael, you saying all he did was his job to an acceptable level. I think it's a little... Look, you know my thoughts on Harry Maguire. I think he's being afforded a little bit too much patience from Ralf Rangnick. I think he should have been regardless of Rafael Varane putting up ill before the game started. I think that he should have been dropped. It should have been Lindelof and Varane in that starting 11 instead of Varane and Maguire. I think he's been afforded too many opportunities. I do think he's a bit of a liability, and I would like to see that changed. But hey, Ralph's deciding to stay by his captain. I disagree with it. I think the majority of United fans disagree with it. But let's see what goes on with Maguire. There was a comment there that caught my eye. I'm going to read this one out because I completely disagree with it. Mike saying, Sam, let's not hype mediocrity. Sancho's nutmeg should not be a high point. He should be putting away those chances he's got. Absolutely no one's hyping mediocrity, but when it's all about progressive improvements. And game on game on game, Sancho is getting more confident. Of all the attackers, he's definitely the most confident looking at the moment. Ronaldo might have got the goal last night, but Sancho's the one who's playing with the sort of swagger you'd expect of Jadon Sancho. The same can't be said about Marcus Rashford. The same can't really be said about Cristiano Ronaldo, but he comes up with a goal. And Anthony Elanga is still a youngster learning his craft in the team. This season is just going to be all about him finding his feet. And even he contributed with that. As I said, it was his desire and work rate that got that red card that changed the game yesterday. Look, before we wrap up today, I won't invite you all on just for today only. I won't invite you on, but look, get your comments in. I won't open the studio up today because I'm going to get busy with the Rashford video as soon as this finishes. Via what you're saying, so now Judge Maguire as playing well when he doesn't have a major mistake, not really captain material, is it? And that's the thing. Thank you very much for that, Viable. That's the thing. It's the armband, right? The armband brings an extra level of scrutiny. When it comes to Harry Maguire now, just doing your job is not going to be enough. That might be enough for Victor Lindelof. That might be enough for Diogo Dalot. That might be enough for McTominay or Fred. It's not going to be enough for Harry Maguire. And that's the expectation that wearing the armband brings you. Extra scrutiny. And Maguire didn't live up to that extra. I think he did his job yesterday. I think it was a decent performance. It was steady enough. But you still want more from your captain. That's the thing. That's the thing. Comment here from, where is it? We should have 4 centre-backs who are all fighting for 2 positions, says Darren. I mean, technically we do. Varane, Lindelof, Maguire and Jones. I mean, we've got more than 4. Gary, you're saying no one's hyping mediocrity, but if confidence as low as it is, we need to find positives wherever we can. Well, you're on the right channel for that, Gary. Yeah, I'm not hyping mediocrity. I will never hype mediocrity. But we need to take steps, keep taking steps. And that game there is a step forward from the game against Southampton. It was 1-0. Even with 10 men, Brighton were dangerous. They hit the bar. It could have been 1-1 again. Instead, it's 2-0. Is that the be-all and end-all? No. It's a step in the right direction. And now we've got to do it against Leeds. Leeds away. It's going to be a tasty and hostile atmosphere. We always know that. One of the scary... Well, I haven't actually been that graceful? Lucky enough to get a ticket to that one yet. Not done Liverpool or Leeds away. Someone sort me out of Liverpool this year. That'd be nice. Mo, I always call you Mo. It's because your first name. Salim, you're saying that we were lucky last night thanks to De Gea. Yeah, De Gea came up. That's what I mean. Yesterday was a step. We got the second goal in the 96th minute when the game was already dead. We need to get that second goal in the 40th minute, so it's 2-0 before half time. That's when the game has changed. As I said at the start of the video, look, Rangnick knows he knows the problem. Our problem is our lack of finishing. We need to get that bloke there, Ruud van Nistelrooy, one of the most clinical finishers that Manchester United have ever had. And we need his sort of attitude, approach, and finishing inside this team if we're going to really start kicking on. We've got Leeds and Atletico Madrid away in our next 2 games. It's going to start, all right? Everything that's happened under Ralf Rangnick so far has been in preparation for what is about to unfold. Because we've got Leeds, we've got Atletico, we've got City, we've got Spurs, we've got Liverpool as well, I think. We've got Leicester, Everton. It's about to crank up a notch. And if we play like we did against Burnley, we're going to get pumped. So from now on, we need steps towards it. And that has to start with Leeds and Atletico. But thank you very much for joining in as always. I apologize for the last couple of days. Actually, no, I'm not going to apologize. I've had a couple of days off. Sue me. But anyway, thank you very much for joining in. Please drop a like on the video. I think I'm going to do my video today on, we need to talk about Marcus Rashford. I think it's an important talking point that we can't ignore anymore. But it's also, it's a delicate conversation. It's not as simple as saying Rashford's shit, let's get rid of him. It's far more nuanced than that. That's why I'm going to do the video. So make sure you watch it later, but drop a like on the video. I'll see you tomorrow. Rude. I love Ruud van Nistelrooy. Imagine having Ruud back. Wow. Probably the best striker we've ever had. Arguably. Best finisher. You might disagree.